Hello and good evening to one and all present here. Today, we are here for the first session of Android Study Jams powered by Google Developer Student Clubs. We'll be going through the basics of Android application development using Kotlin with our campus facilitator Ritik Ronak. I request Ritik to please start the presentation and help us learn this fun subject.
Thank you, Abhishek Bhaiya. Hello, everyone. Myself, Ritik Ronak, and I am a second year IT student at MUJ, and I am the facilitator for the Android Study Jams, and I will be hosting it in our college. So let's start off by actually talking what is Android Study Jams. So it's an community organized study groups which are made for the people to and learn how to develop Android apps using online courses provided by Google itself. It contains material which is directly related to Android development and the techniques that are used. So in this year jam, we are having only one track, that is Android Basics in Kotlin course. So let me open the course link in the browser. So this is the track which will give you a knowledge about Kotlin and its implementation in the Android app development. It goes from very basic to intermediate level, and it will give you a brief knowledge of the techniques that are being used for app development. It has lots of in-depth content also. So if you have already explored the track, then it would be good. Let me introduce the course. That is, we are having six unit data, unit 1 Kotlin basic, unit 2 layout, till then the work manager. So in total of 6 unit, there are 16 pathways and 16 quizzes. So you need to complete all the 16 quizzes for earning the digital badges that are mentioned here, that are the earnable badges. Let me explore the unit 1. The unit 1 is Kotlin Basic. The Kotlin Basic have 4 pathways that are introduction to Kotlin, create your first app, build a basic layout, and add a button to an app. So you need to complete all the 4 pathway in order to complete this one first unit, that is Kotlin Basic. For you can explore the pathway 1. It has a layout of having, it contains some videos, then code lab, and then quiz. Basically, code lab is a self-paced lab where you can complete the lab in your own pace. That means it don't have any time limitation, or that you need to complete that course in this amount of time. So you can view the video. It contains a basic video about the how welcome to the Android basics in Kotlin. Then it has the code lab, that is first program in the Kotlin, take to the code lab. Let me start from the beginning. So here is some of the documents or the text that you need to go through. Then click next. We would be learning the Kotlin programming language today, so we can skip that ahead. So this was a basic overview of the course and the unit itself. Let's continue. Let me talk more about the certificate which you will be getting after completing those 6 units and the earning the 16 batches. This is the certificate that you would be earning after the completion. You need to complete the course before 10th Jan, that is Android Basics in Kotlin course before 10th January. Then after, we will be floating out the forms where you need to attach the screenshot of the badge on, and then we will be verifying it and will send out the certificates to those who have completed and been verified. Apart from the certificate, you will be earning some digital badges that you can showcase on your social profile. For that, you need to make a Google developer profile. I think most of you have already made one, as it was asked in the form. But if not, then you can go to the link, that is google.dev/u/new, to create your developer profile. Technically. So here it will open a form where it will ask your name. You can type your name, the city you belong from, the pronoun, and can click next. Then it would ask your interested topic. You can select web, cloud, mobile, or some the things you like or the topic you interested. Then after it would ask for the newsletter subscription confirmation. You can, it is optional, you can tick or untick. Then after clicking finish, it will create a developer profile. Let me show mine. Maybe something is wrong with this. Just a second, let me retry. So yes, it's now opening. Yep. After creating a profile, you will be greeted like this dashboard where you can see all the batches that you have earned so far by learning or completing the courses. There are a variety of different courses available on this developer platform. You can also learn web development and other things, and you can earn the batches. So here you can see all the batches that I've earned by completing the course shown here. So moving on further, here is again the course link, that is g.co/basics, and it have six unit having 16 pathways. The unit one look like this. Kotlin basic for the Android. A pathway layout is, and quiz. Now talking about the quiz is generally based on the topic that you have learned in that pathway. If you are doing the introduction to Kotlin, then it would be asking the some Kotlin basic questions, and it consists of MCQs, true, false, and fill in the blanks. And then after completing the quiz and passing the quiz, that means a decent amount of marks or full marks you need to require for earning the digital badge. So, let me see if there is any question in the chat box. Just a second. No, there are multiple attempts for the every quiz. You can do as your wish. You can re-attempt any quiz anytime. Will be uh, will be able to add the certificate to the LinkedIn profile. Yes, you can also showcase your badges on the LinkedIn profile also, and you can add the certificate to on LinkedIn. No, there will not be any exam based on what. There is only a small quiz of maximum 10 marks or 15 marks. So now let's move further. Introduction to Kotlin. Kotlin was first created in 2010 by JetBrains, and in 2019, Google made Kotlin as a preferred programming language for Android app development. It comes with many cool features like null safety, coroutines, and the lesser number of line of code as compared with Java. So here are the top interesting facts about Kotlin. That is 30% less code as compared to the Java. 70% of the top Play Store apps are developed in Kotlin. The top features consist of less code than Java. So here you can see the code that defining a class in Java look like this amount of lines, and in Kotlin it is only 3 or 4 lines. So Moving on to the next top feature, that is null safety, which helps while code compilation and debugging that no variable is assigned null or wrong value. Coroutines is also a top feature of the Kotlin where it allows to do asynchronous programming, that is operating simultaneously actions at the same time. Now to learn and practice the Kotlin, either you need to download IntelliJ IDEA or can use the Kotlin Playground website. In this session, we would be using the Kotlin Playground website as it is easy to operate and hassle-free. Let's head over to the play.kotlinland.org. Let me write this. So if would be using the play.kotlin line for the first time, it would be creating with this code, pre-written code. So after executing it, it should print hello world as directed. So what I did was I basically created a function that by the variable fun and the function name that is main. And inside that I have written the statement that is print ln hello world, and it has printed the hello world on the output screen. So basically this is the output screen, and here we'll write the code for printing the code. For printing the statement, we can also use the keyword that is print hello. You can also use that print statement that should also print the hello. So basically the difference between the print ln and print is that in print ln it inserts a new line character after the end of the statement. That means, and in print it does not insert any new line character. Let me give an example. Word. If I execute this code, then it should print the print hello world in the same line as. But if we want to print the world in the next line, we would be using the print ln and then running the code. It had printed the world in the next line. So this was the general overview of the print line statement. Let's actually talk about more fundamental things that are creating variables and using them actually. So in Kotlin, there are two ways in which you can create a variable. So the first way is using the keyword val. Let me val space a equals to 10. So what I did was I created a variable named a and assigned a value 10 to it. For printing a, we can write print ln bracket a. And if we try to run this code, it should print the value of a. This is 10. So the another method for declaring a variable is by using the keyword var. Var space p equals to 20. And if we need to print the p also, print ln p should print the value of a and b both, that is 10 and 20. So you can use the both keyword val and var for declaring the variables in Kotlin, but the major difference between them is that val is immutable and var is mutable. So what does immutable and mutable mean is that immutable, that is val, cannot be reassigned or cannot be changed in the program further after the declaration, whereas var can be changed in the program further. Let me demonstrate it. If we try to change the value of a to 15, and try to run, it will give an error that val cannot be reassigned. And if we do the same with var giving the value 30, cutting out this, should print the value of a as 10 and b as 30. So major difference is that cannot val cannot be reassigned and var can be reassigned. Now let's talk more about the data types. If you are already in programming in other languages, then you must know that for declaring the variable, we first need to declare the data type. But this is not in the case in Kotlin. Kotlin supports 5 primitive data types that are int, boolean, double, char, and string. For explicitly defining the data type in Kotlin, we write, I'm using the variable var a colon, the type of data type you need is assigning the value as 10. What I did was I created a variable named a with the data type as integer and assigned a value 10 to it. And if we print, it should print this value as 10. So now moving forward on operators. Basically, operators are the symbol which tells the compiler or the interpreter to perform a specific operation on some elements. So let's say if we need to print the sum of two numbers, we will write, let me variable that is e and define as value 20. For printing the sum, you can write print ln a plus b. And after writing the code, we can run it. And it should print the value as 30. So here the plus symbol is actually a arithmetic operator, which basically add both ups and give the result. Apart from the add, we have minus, multiply, divide, and modulus. They are all same every programming languages. So moving on further, if we need to do some conditional expression, like if we want to print that when a is smaller than b, for that we will be using the conditional statement. So conditional statement are executed when the condition turns out to be true, then the code blocks inside the statement is executed. For printing the statement, that is when a is less than b, we will be using the keyword if. If a is smaller than b, code blocks print ln a is smaller than b. Let me comment out this also. So if we try to run the code, it should print a smaller than b, because the value of a is 10 and b is 20, and the condition of if is true, then it executed the statement that is print ln a is smaller than b. What happens when we try to give the value of a bigger than b, that is 30? And try to run, it will not print any statement or anything, because the this if condition got false and we don't have any other condition to check with, so it does not print anything. For by default, we can use the else statement for handling all the exceptions, that is else else print ln a is greater than b. We can write, and if we try to run this code, then it should print a is greater than b. What happens if we try and we want to print that a is equals to, or the condition is a is equal to b, then we would require another checking expression checking block, that is else if bracket. Then we can write the expression that is a equals to b, print ln a is equal to b, and we assign the value of a to same as b. Now running the code, it should print a is equal to b. Now in this scenario, the first, the if statement got executed and the condition is false, then it uh, moved on the next statement, that is else if a is equals to b, that means the value r20 is equals to 20, then the println statement is executed. So here are the conditional statement, that is if else ladder. Another condition that we use is switch in other programming languages, but in Kotlin it is when. Let me introduce it to the when. Let me declare a z equals to 1 when z equals. So basically, when is just like switch case in which the condition or the case is checked. So here we have defined a variable named z with a value 1, and we have write the condition, that is when z is present and it would be executed. So z value is checked against the cases that we will define here. So if the value of z is 1, then this code block should be executed, that is println study jams. So let me try to run this code. It should print study jams. So what happened if we try to give the value of z to 3 and try to execute it? So now what happens is that it executed this when statement, and it tried to match the value of z with the condition that we have mentioned. So there is no uh, condition of 3 to check, so it does not print anything. Let me write the condition for 3. GDSC. Now, if we run the code, it should print the output as GDSC. So now what happens? It check the value of the z, that is if z is this one is 3 or not. This is not 3. This is 3. Then it executed the statement, that is println GDSC. So it has given the output as GDSC. Uh, if we try to give the value of z as 2 and try to run the code, it should not print anything because we don't have any condition to check with the value of 2. For tackling those, we can by default, or we can use the condition, that is else arrow print ln. So now if we execute the program, it should give us the output as unknown. The else condition is executed when none of the cases are matched in the when statement. So let me again check if someone is asking something in the chat box. Give me a minute. Okay. I think Hardik Bhaiya is answering all the questions. Thank you. Uh, yes, you can put if rather than when, but in if statement we have to provide an expression for checking that it is matching or not. Whereas in when statement, it is by default find the matching cases. So I think when are more preferred in when we are checking the value is exactly same or not. So I think all questions are being answered. It is necessary to have the main function in the Kotlin or as in Java. So main function is the point where the compiler or the interpreter starts the executing of the code. So it must have the main function. So moving on to arrays. In general terms, arrays only store one type or same type of values, but in Kotlin, we can save different data types value in a single array. So let me remove all this code and we'll try to make a array of name is age, comma, age, comma, C, GPA. For defining the array in Kotlin, we would be using the keyword that is array, capital O, array of. Then we can define the values that we need, that is name, with a comma, age, 20, comma, CGPA 9.5. So what I did was I created an array that consists of name, age, and CGPA. All three are of different data types. That is, name is of string type, age is of integer type, and CGPA is of double type or float type. Kotlin support multiple data types in a single array. So we are able to make this such kind of array. If we try to execute this code, it should not give any error because it's a valid array in form of Kotlin. So in order to assess it, we have to save it to a variable. That means we need to save this array to an variable. For that, we can use the val x equals to array of. So what we have done is we have defined a variable x and assigned the value of arrays to this x variable. In order to limit the type of array, that means if we want to have only a array of only integers, then we can, if we want to declare a array of only integers, we can use the keyword int capital A array of the values 2, 3. So So this is the array that should only contain the values that are integer type. And if we try to execute this first, should not give any errors. But if we give a value that is a floating values in this array, then it should give an array that it only require the integer type. So similarly, you can define a double type array by double of and giving the double floating values, that is 5.2 comma 2.3 or something like that. Similarly, you can define as a string array that by typing the string array of and like that. So let me make an integer array for the further proceeding. 1 comma 2 comma 3 and try to run. So yeah, For assessing the value and printing them, we will require to write the print statement of the x, that is print ln x brackets and 1. Let me first execute it. So it has printed the value 2 in the output screen. So let me expand this array and give you a detailed view, that is 1 comma 2 comma 3. So So here are the values of the array that are being defined, that is 1, 2, 3, and it their corresponding index number is defined as here 0, 1, and 2. So the index number always starts from 0 and would be equals to n minus 1, the number of values that are present in the array minus 1. So if we try to print all the values, we can write print ln x bracket 0 for printing the 0th index, print x 2. So it should print all the values of the array, that is 1 and 2 and 3. So here the index number of 0 is assigned to 1, and index number 1 is assigned to 2, and index number 2 is assigned to value 3, and it has printed all the values, that is 1, 2, and 3. So sometimes there are statements that need to be repeatedly displayed or used, like if I want to print my name 4 times or 5 times, I need to do like this for printing my name 5 times. Okay. So if we try to execute, it should print my name as 5 times as given. You can use this type of print ln statements, but this is not recommended for the further use because it would occupy larger number of lines of codes and would be difficult to manage. So for getting rid of this type, we can use the function, that is repeat bracket the number of time you want to execute that statement, that is 5 brackets, and writing the statement that you need to execute. So it should print the name as 5 times add before, that is Ritik, and if we declare a variable inside it, let me take a equals to 1 and also print that a, then it should print Ritik 1. So it's printing the all the statement as 5 times. Before moving, let me check if there is any questions. Okay, okay. I think all questions are being answered by Hardik Bhaiya. So now on moving forward, let us talk about the for loops that are very common in the programming language. Let's use the for loop for printing the values of the array. For example, we need to print the value of the array that we have already defined. Yes, for for printing the value by using the for loop, we can use that for keyword, defining the counter variable as I in defining the range, and so what this means that we have defined a counter I, and then we have defined the range that is from 0 to 2. It is the lower index that is 0 and the higher index is 2, that we have only 0, 1 and 2, three values. So basically this is a dot dot operator which is used to define the range, and it tells to how much the code or the for loop should be executed in the provided range. So if we want to print the values of this array, we can do by x brackets I. So if we try to run, it should print the values of array that is 1, 2 and 3. So let us discuss how it worked in the backend. So give me a minute. Hmm. So for the first time, the I is assigned as the I is assigned with the value of 0. That means we are printing the x 0th value. That means the index, we will be printing the value at the index number 0. That means the index is at index 0, it is 1, so it has printed the 1. This completes the first check, and after the first go, the value of I is incremented by 1. That means I becomes 1, and now we will be printing the x of index number 1, that is 2. So here it's printed the value of 2. Again, after this second go, it would be increment the I value with 1, that is I become 2, and we will be printing the x of second index number, that is 3. So it has printed the value as 3. After the third go, the I value becomes 3, and as it is not defined in the range, so the for loop get exited as the bound comes out of the range that we have defined from 0 to 2. So now let us talk about the functions. Till now we were writing all the code in the main function block, that is this function. So keyword for the declaring of the function in the Kotlin is fun, that is fun. So in order to start the execution of the code, compiler needs to know where to start from. So this main function is the point where the execution of the program starts. So let me make a function that would print out the sum of two variables. Print sum of two variables. For defining the function, we can use the keyword one add num by and giving the arguments. Let me talk about the arguments just a second. So these are the arguments that are being passed in order to get the values of the variable and the function execution. So basically we have defined the variable a with the data type of integer, that we are getting the value of a as integer and b as also integer. So for printing the printing the sum, we can write print ln a plus, that we already know. And for the execution or calling of this function, we need to add the code in the main, that is add num, and passing the values that we need to require, that is 10 and 20, and passing. Running this code should print the sum, that is 30. So we have passed the value 10 and 20. That means the function add, this function add num gets the value of A as 10 and B as 20, and then it executed the statement that is print ln A and B. A and B, that sum equals to 30. We can also pass a variable, like if we define a variable where x equals to 15, try to pass in terms of this x, so it should print the value as 35. Now in this case we have passed the value of A as x. That means x value is 15, so indirectly A got the value of 15 and B got the value of 20, and then it printed the sum as 20. So this was the basic overview of Kotlin programming languages. So let me take a look in the chat box. Yes, overloading is allowed in Kotlin. Okay, there's no need for class to define. Okay, explain the for loop function. Okay, just a second. So, so here is the for loop statement that we have written using the code that is for I. We have declared the I as an counter, and then we have defined the range that is 0 to 2. That means the how many times the for loop or the code between the for loop is being executed, that is from 0 to 2. In Kotlin, the counter variable is automatically incremented by the by +1. That means in other languages we need to define the how many times of v, like I plus plus I plus 2 we need to define, but in Kotlin by default it incremented the counter variable with 1. We can also explicitly define as by using the step 2 by step 2 if we need to increment the counter variable with +2. For now we can only use let me do, it should print only 1 and 3. For incrementing the value of I with 2, we can use this step 2. That would increment the value of I with 2, and it has printed 1 and 3. So this was the dot dot operator, that is which is defined the range from where the execution of the program for loop starts and from where to end, that is 0. I value should be equals to 0 to 2, and then it is printed the we have written the print ln statement, that is print ln. Let me once again explain this part. So in the first go the I value is equals to, just a second. For the first go, the I value is 0. That means we are printing the index, the value of index 0, that is 1. It has printed the value of index 1, that is 1. Then after the first go, it has incremented the I value with 1, that is I become 1, and we are printing the index number of 1. That means value of 2 is printed. In after the second go, the I becomes 2, and we are printing the value of index number 2, that is equals to 3. The 3 is printed. After the third go, the I value becomes 3, and we have defined the range to 0 to 2 only, so it would not execute, and the bound will the control will come out of the for loop. So this should clear that out. Did not understand the use of step 2 in the for loop. Okay, let me increase the array, then you can. So if we want to print the alternative numbers in this, so here you can see that the if we want to print the alternative numbers or the odd numbers in this array of numbers, we can use the step 2, which would increment the I value with plus 2 every time with plus 2. That means the first time it would print the value of value 1, then the I value would be incremented with the 2. That means the now the index of uh, second, that is 3, is printed. After that the I becomes 4, then this would be printed, that is 5. Then I becomes, say, 6, then this would be printed as the value of 7. So here you can see the step 2, using of step 2. Print even alternative, you can start off with, you can start the range from 1 and then you can go as for printing the even. Okay, okay, moving further, we will be just a second. Moving further, so these were the quick recap that we have learned today. That is printing the statements. That is print using the statement println hello world, and we have also learned about how to declare a variable in Kotlin. That is using the var and val. That is val can val cannot be changed later after the defining, and var can be changed. So the data types that are supported by Kotlin are int, double, boolean, char, and string. We have also go through the conditional statement, that is using of the if else ladder, that is similar to the Java code also, and when statement that are similar as in switch case in C, we can use this. Then we have used of the loops and the ranges. You can see this is for the items. We have all for today. We have used this type of loop, that is I in 1 0 to 2 we have defined. So if we want to decrement or go to backward, you can use down to from for declaring the range. So here it printed in the descending order. We have also implemented the function, that is adding sum of finding of the sum of two variables, that is a and b, and printing that sum. So we have used the function that is don't have any return type. We can also have a return type, that is return sum, and it would be getting the value of sum and printing in the main function only. So moving on further, now we would be using Android Studio for our key software for developing Android apps. Android Studio is the official tool to build the Android apps. You can download it from the link link, that is developer.android.com/studio website. Here is the Android Studio website. You can download it by reading all the terms and condition and checking and clicking download Android Studio. So we will be exploring Android Studio in the next session. In the next session, we will be also making a real world app. So let me cancel it. Moving further, I would like to talk about the learning journey or the Android Study Jam course layout. That is, I'm telling, there are 6 units in this course and 16 pathways that are each different topics, and you need to complete those pathways by passing the quiz at the end of each pathway with full or decent score. Then you will be able to earn the digital badge for that pathway. So here is the overview of what you will learn in this course. That is the topics that are being that would be talked in this course of the Enter Study Jam School. Introduction to Kotlin, basic layouts, adding button to an app, getting an user input, navigating between screens, coroutines. We will also talking about the coroutines later on, and getting and displaying data from the internet by using the HTTP and REST functions. We will be also using SQL Room or Flow, and we will be working with the schedule manager, work managers. So if you have any question, you can ask right in the chat box. So for the certificate, do we need to on every single batch? Yes, for the certificate, you need to earn all the 16 batches from the 16 pathways. Okay, thank you. Yes, we would be sharing the PPT and all the resources by the end of this session. Thank you. So if there are any questions, uh, we are planning to schedule the next class on 5th. Till then, you can go through the course and try to complete the pathways on your own. Then you can ask the doubts of the pathway in the 5th, the next session. The class can be longer. It depends on you how much time it requires. Yeah, you need to complete all the batches by the 10th. It's the deadline from the Google itself. We can't help. So just a second. Yes. Yes, we will try to manage the recording for the today's session. So if there is no, so thank you everyone for attending this session, and thanks again. I would like to hand over the Abhishek Bhaiya.